I almost lost my wife, not because of an affair, not because of money, because I couldn't perform. At 57, I was a shell of the man she married. And the worst part? I thought it was just age. I'd have 2 glasses of red wine with dinner every night. Wind down. Sleep like a log. That's what I told myself. But here's the truth I learned the hard way. That nightly glass of wine was the silent assassin of my erections. When I stopped, everything changed. Let me show you exactly what I mean. I remember the exact night I realized something had to change. My wife and I were in bed, lights off, and I could feel her body leaning towards mine. I wanted to respond. My mind was ready, but my body wouldn't cooperate. That wasn't the first time. It had been happening more and more over the past year. I blamed stress. I blamed my job. I blamed the natural decline of getting older. But deep down, I knew it wasn't just age. I was 57, not 87. Yet my erections were weaker, less frequent, and sometimes they just didn't show up at all. The shame was crushing. I felt like less of a man. I stopped initiating intimacy. My wife started pulling away. Conversations became shorter. The silence in our bedroom got louder every night. And I kept having that wine. Because if I couldn't be a lover, at least I could sleep. That logic was flawed, but I didn't know that yet. Let's talk about the real problem. A man over 50 with erection issues is not just dealing with a mechanical failure. He's dealing with a domino effect that impacts every aspect of his life. Confidence, self-esteem, relationship harmony, even his physical health. And most men think the solution is a pill. But the pill is a band-aid. It doesn't address the root cause. So what is that root cause? In my case, and in the case of thousands of men I've worked with, one of the biggest culprits is something you do every single night without thinking about it. You drink alcohol in the evening, and not heavy drinking. I'm talking about the man who has 1 or 2 glasses of wine, a beer, or a cocktail after work. It's so normalized we don't see it as a problem. But the science says different. Alcohol, even in moderate amounts, wreaks havoc on your erectile function through multiple mechanisms. First, it suppresses the central nervous system. That means the signals from your brain to your penis are weaker. You need those signals for arousal and for maintaining an erection. Second, alcohol reduces nitric oxide production. Nitric oxide is the molecule that relaxes the smooth muscles in your penile arteries, allowing blood to rush in. Without enough NO, your blood vessels stay constricted. No matter how hard you try, the blood flow just isn't enough. Third, alcohol raises cortisol. Cortisol is the stress hormone. When cortisol is high, it blocks testosterone and lowers your libido. It also interferes with REM sleep. And REM sleep is when your body regenerates testosterone and repairs blood vessels. So the habit of evening drinking creates a vicious cycle. You drink, you sleep poorly, your testosterone drops, your blood vessels stiffen, your erections weaken, you feel anxious, you drink more to cope. That cycle kept me trapped for years. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you I was a heavy drinker. I was the picture of moderation. 2 glasses of red wine with dinner, maybe a third on weekends. I'd read about the health benefits of resveratrol. I thought I was being healthy, but the data doesn't lie. A 2023 study published in the Journal of Sexual Medicine followed 1,200 men over 50 and found that those who had even 1 alcoholic drink daily were 32% more likely to report erectile dysfunction compared to non-drinkers. Another study from Harvard showed that men who stopped drinking for just 30 days experienced a 40% improvement in their International Index of Erectile Function scores. That's not placebo, that's physiology. You might be thinking, but Thomas, every guy I know drinks. It's social. It relaxes me. I get it. I used to say the same thing. But let me ask you this. Do you want to be relaxed or do you want to be hard? Because they can't coexist when alcohol is involved. The relaxation you feel after a drink is actually the suppression of your nervous system. Your erections depend on a fully functioning parasympathetic nervous system. Alcohol weakens it. So you might feel more relaxed in your head, but your body is less capable of performing. That's not relaxation. That's sedation. And sedation kills erections. I know what you're thinking next, but I only have one drink. That can't be that bad. One drink still impacts your physiology. One standard drink, a 5-ounce glass of wine, can lower your nighttime erections by 20%. Those nighttime erections are your body's natural maintenance system. They keep your penile tissue oxygenated and healthy. Without them, you're setting yourself up for long-term damage. Plus, one drink disrupts your REM sleep. A 2019 study in sleep medicine found that even a single drink reduces REM sleep by 30%. And REM sleep is when your brain signals testosterone production. So one drink is robbing you of the very hormones you need for a healthy sex life. I'm not a doctor. I'm a man who lived through this. At 57, I decided to run my own experiment. I had heard about the benefits of stopping alcohol from some online forums, but I was skeptical. I'd been a moderate drinker for decades. I didn't think I had a problem, so I challenged myself. 30 days completely alcohol-free. I would track my sleep, my morning erections, my libido, and my overall energy. I wanted hard evidence, not just feelings. That's when I started using a tracking tool. It was an app that let me log these metrics daily. I'll leave the link in the pinned comment if you want to use the same one. Tracking was crucial because it gave me objective data. Without it, I might have attributed improvements to placebo, but the numbers don't lie. Within the first week, I noticed my sleep quality improved. I was falling asleep faster and staying asleep longer. My morning erections, which had been absent for months, started returning. At first they were weak, just partial, but by day 14, they were full and frequent. My energy during the day went up and my mood stabilized. I didn't feel the afternoon crash anymore. By the end of 30 days, my libido had returned. I was initiating intimacy with my wife for the first time in years. Our relationship transformed. The silence in the bedroom was replaced by laughter and connection. It felt like I had reclaimed my manhood. Now you might say, "But Thomas, you had ED. Maybe it was just the alcohol for you. What about other factors?" You're right to question. That's why I looked deeper. After that 30-day experiment, I stayed off alcohol for a full year. The improvements held, but I also discovered something else. The alcohol wasn't the only factor. The evening drink was the catalyst that set off a chain reaction. Poor sleep led to higher cortisol, which led to more stress, which made me want to drink. It was a loop. And by breaking the habit of the evening drink, I gave my body the chance to heal. I also started addressing other aspects: nutrition, exercise, stress management. But the alcohol was the foundational change. Without removing it, my other efforts were like trying to fill a bucket with a hole in the bottom. Let me deepen this further. There's another mechanism most people don't know about. Alcohol increases a compound called homocysteine. High homocysteine is linked to endothelial dysfunction, which is a fancy way of saying your blood vessels can't relax properly. This is especially damaging for penile arteries because they are the smallest and most sensitive vessels in the body. When your endothelium is damaged, your erections suffer. The good news is that quitting alcohol allows your endothelium to repair. Within 2 to 3 weeks, you can see significant improvement in blood flow markers. I've seen it in my own tracking. You might be wondering about other habits. What about smoking? That's even worse. Smoking introduces toxins that directly damage your endothelium. But alcohol is often overlooked because it's socially acceptable and seen as harmless. It's not. I also want to address the common recommendation of having a glass of red wine for heart health. That's based on flawed science. The studies that showed heart benefits in French people were confounded by diet and lifestyle. The latest research shows that any alcohol intake increases your risk of certain cancers and cardiovascular damage. The net effect for men over 50 is negative. So if you're having that glass of wine for your heart, you're actually hurting your heart and your penis. Now let me give you a practical protocol. If you're serious about improving your erections, do this starting tonight. Step 1. No alcohol for the next 30 days. 0. Not even a sip. Replace it with a non-alcoholic alternative like sparkling water with a squeeze of lemon or a herbal tea. Step 2. Expose yourself to morning sunlight within 30 minutes of waking. This helps regulate your circadian rhythm and improve sleep quality even further. Step 3. Take a high-quality magnesium glycinate supplement before bed. Magnesium helps lower cortisol and supports deep sleep. Step 4. Do this daily habit tracking I mentioned. Record your morning erections, scale 1 to 10, your sleep hours, your energy level. The app I used makes this simple. Link in pinned comment. By the end of 30 days, you'll have objective proof of how much alcohol was affecting you. I want to share a story of another man I coached. Let's call him Paul. Paul was 62, retired, and had a glass of bourbon every evening. He thought it helped him relax. His erections were inconsistent, and he had given up on intimacy with his wife of 35 years. He came to me desperate. I told him the same thing I'm telling you. He was skeptical, but he agreed to try. In the second week, he called me and said, "I had a morning erection this morning for the first time in a year. I almost cried." By the end of 30 days, he was initiating sex again. His wife told me their relationship had never been better. That's what happens when you remove the barrier. But here's the thing that might surprise you. After the 30 days, Paul decided to have a glass of wine at a family dinner. He thought he could moderate. The next morning, no erection. He felt the familiar fog and fatigue. He realized that for him, one drink was enough to reset the damage. Not everyone has that sensitivity, but many do. So I recommend a full 90-day alcohol-free period to reset your system. Then you can experiment to see if your tolerance is different. But honestly, after experiencing the benefits, most men choose to stay off alcohol. Now let's expand on what else you can do to supercharge recovery. First, increase your intake of dietary nitrates. Foods like beets, spinach, arugula, and celery contain nitrates that your body converts to nitric oxide. I recommend a glass of beet juice daily. Second, do pelvic floor exercises. Kegels for men are real, and they strengthen the muscles that help maintain erections. Third, get resistance training in 3 times per week. Lifting weights increases testosterone and improves insulin sensitivity. Fourth, sleep. I cannot overstate this. Aim for 7 to 9 hours. No screens an hour before bed. Keep your room dark and cool. Fifth, manage your stress with meditation or deep breathing. When you're stressed, your body prioritizes survival over reproduction. That means weaker erections. I want to circle back to the beginning, that nightly habit I thought was harmless. It was killing my erections, my marriage, and my self-worth. When I stopped, everything changed. I got my energy back, my confidence, my wife's smile. My erections are now stronger than they were in my 40s. I'm 61, and I perform better than I did at 40. That's not an exaggeration. It's the result of removing the obstacle and letting my body's natural mechanisms work. If my story resonates with you, subscribe to this channel. I share new protocols every week that can help you reclaim your vitality. And remember, the tracking app I used is linked in the pinned comment. It's what made my transformation measurable and sustainable. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. I'm Thomas Whitfield. I got my manhood back. So can you.